has been exactly the convenience part. So biometrics in payments and touching convenience is the topic for today's webinar. Welcome everybody. We are happy to share the key findings of the latest white paper from the biometrics workgroup. And I'm Sirpa Nordlund, I'm heading Mobey Forum, and I have here with me also Mario Maawad, who is responsible for the digital risk and fraud prevention in CiaxaBank, and also the co-chair Philippe, who is vice president at Morpho. Before starting, I would like to outline some house rules. So every one of you has been placed on mute, just to ensure that we don't have any noise from the background. And Mario and Philippe will present approximately 20 minutes, and then we have time for questions. So prepare your questions. You can use the chat, or also you can send them to us via raising your hand and speak it out loud. If we see you there, we will give you the online presence. And already apologies in case we don't have time for all the questions. We will come back with the replies to all the questions if you submit them. So we will return via email after the webinar is over. And of course, you are welcome to ask any questions also later on from Mario and Philippe. They will be around. And just a quick look through. We all know what Mobey Forum really is. Sometimes it's good to remind you. So we are an global industry association, empowering banks and financial institutions to lead in the future of digital financial services. What we have here also in this call, every one of you, we are connecting thought leaders and together identify commercial drivers and insights for technology in order to build better mobile banking and commerce. And we collaborate to analyze business strategies and technologies. And as said, we are a non-profit organization. All the income will be applied in the furtherance of the objective of the forum. See the members' logos. We have a good number of banks and also technology specialists on board. Very proud of that slide. Now let's go for the webinar agenda. What do we have in today's topic list? First of all, we start with the most relevant use cases for banks. We look at some of the issues what has held biometrics back, and some biometrics architectures and selection criteria for those. We also look at the consumer demand and some of the issues there, and what the banks will be doing. I transfer now the speaking for Philippe from Morpho to speak more about biometrics and where it's been used and the architectures. Philippe, welcome. Philippe, can you hear?
Yes, I can. Do you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you.
So, sorry, I was speaking. I don't know if you heard me, but okay, it's good. And maybe you could display the slide about the key event for biometrics, or?
Yes, we have it here. So it's about biometrics is already used by a number of banks around the world. Do you have that slide in front?
Yes, now it's good. It's just good. So indeed, it's a slide about some key events and to show that biometrics is already used by a lot of banks in the world. So we believe in Morpho that we have approximately 200 banks in the world using our biometric solution. So it means that a lot of banks in the world use some biometric solution. We have here some key happening about the use of biometric in banks. The first bullet point is about what we call maybe KYC. I mean that in Nigeria, customer biometric data are captured and registered. So it means that when you want to access some financial services, you have first to be enrolled with biometric in order to make sure of your identity, identity uniqueness, and proof of life. Biometric is also very good for proof of life. So here it's in Nigeria, but you have the same thing in in India, for example. You have the same in some states, in some countries in Africa, in Western countries in Africa. So it's more about KYC again. It's more for enrolling new customer and making sure of their identity. But we have also a lot of usage on ATM, and many countries in the world, so Japan, but also Brazil, in Asia, have put in place biometric solution on ATMs. So it's something really spread out in some countries. So closer to us, so closer to the northern countries in the world, we have the Barclays, who has put in place a solution for their banking customers in order them to authenticate and to access some financial services. So we have also this interesting initiative because it's about card scheme. So here it's a French card scheme who is specifying biometrics for payment cards. But we have also this same initiative from international schemes in the world. So it's now happening that we will have very soon biometric as a cardholder verification method. So it means that it will be possible to pay with a card by putting your finger. And we have also some retail banks in the world, in UK and in US. You can see here Atom Bank or USA, sorry. And USA launched a solution to authenticate with biometrics by using either the fingerprint readers on the smartphone or by using the camera for face recognition or the microphone for voice recognition. And they have already 400,000 users, 4,000 customers already using this system. So it's here some key events, but again, we have today more than 200 banks using biometrics in the world. And so definitely it's more about KYC, how to securely enroll a customer, but we can see a lot of initiative, a lot of pilots and so on for using biometric as an authentication factor. Okay, maybe we can go to the next slide. Okay, so here I have a slide coming from the survey we conducted with Mobey Forum with some banks, and you can see here in blue some answers coming from banks, and in red answers coming from other participants. So sorry, 5 seconds. So we have here some answers, and we can see that banks are thinking about authentication for some uses, and especially for authentication and payment. So it means for payments, it's also authentication. So maybe we could gather these two figures and to say that 27% of banks are thinking about biometrics for authentication. So we have also, biometric is also studied for signing documents or onboarding customers. So here it's more the use case I mentioned a short while ago for making sure of customer identity. And here we have a very small figures because these answers come from northern countries bank, and it is more a solution for the southern countries. So here banks that answered to this survey was more from Europe, US, and Middle East, and it's more a solution in India, for example, or in Africa, or in Latin America. So the banks think about biometric also to secure the high-risk transaction, and here again it's for strong authentication. So maybe we could go through the following slide. So here we can see that we believe that for biometrics, mobile is really something very important, is really something happening in the world now, and indeed we have some generation in the biometric solution, and the current generation of biometric solution, we could say, is through dedicated device that we can embed into some machine or device. I mean, we can embed a biometric sensor into an ATM. We can put a biometric reader into a point-of-sale terminal, payment terminal. But we believe that the new generation of biometrics is through the mobile. So we will have the user smartphone already equipped with biometrics, and it's something that is going to happen very, very soon. We have also some first solution with iPhone and Samsung and other devices. We know that Microsoft is going to launch or is launching the iris recognition, and some other handset manufacturers are doing the same right now. So definitely we believe that through the mobile we will have more and more biometric capabilities on for the users. So it's definitely something very important, and that is going to happen very, very soon. So it's also interesting to know that we are and we will be more and more able to secure the smartphone as a trusted device. What we never did on the PC or laptop, we are going to do it on smartphone because we have secure elements, we have trusted execution environments, so it means that we will be able to protect private data on the smartphone. So it means that for using biometrics, for example, it is quite important to be able to secure everything on the smartphone. So it's definitely something we can do now. Okay. So, sorry, I have a lot of. Okay, so maybe we could go through the following slide to see some figures. Okay. So, what are the current hurdles to prevent the use of biometrics in banking transaction? We can see here the dependence on technology providers. So it is true that today biometric solutions are more or less proprietary, and so we need some standards in order for banks to make sure that they will have an open solution, easy to use for all their users. We can perceive some privacy issues. And maybe we could talk about reliability and accuracy. and regulation. So it is the four main hurdles about biometrics. So, and we know that we have currently some standards. For example, we can quote FIDO standard, which is a very interesting standard. And this standard, for example, is defining currently a lot of technical possibility in order to make all solutions interoperable. So it's something that could solve the first point. And they are also trying and they are also defining conditions to secure user data. And we could say that we will have also some capability to evaluate, to assess all solutions in order to make sure that solutions are reliable and accurate. So I mean that through this standard organization, we will have very, very soon answers to this hurdles. Okay, and if we can go through the next slide. So here, okay, so here it's more or less the same hurdles we have seen on the previous slide. It's the current concern for customers about reliability, accuracy, security, the lack of revocability about biometrics. So it's a question we have at each event. Each time we meet with a customer to explain the solution, we have this objection. So it's definitely something we have to explain, not to solve, because this problem is already solved, but it sounds that we have a lot of difficulty to make it clear and to explain clearly that now, because it changes everything, now the biometric template is not the secret. It's not like a password, for example, where the password is a secret. For biometric, it's not the case. Your biometric is not your secret. So biometric is only a reference to be compared on the fresh capture, but it's not a secret. We can find your photo on internet everywhere. We can find algorithm to templatize your photo into a biometric template, so it's not secret at all. So you don't have to revocate anything because it's not a secret. The only security is the way you are going to play your biometrics, and you are going to prevent all replay attack. So we have definitely to educate and to define everything, but it's something we are going to do through, for example, the Mobey Forum organization. Okay, so I think for my party is done. So if you have a specific question, and for sure you will have the slide if you want to read everything, and if you have a question, I'm quite available to for you to answer.
Good. And we have now Mario. Welcome, Mario.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, the next slide.
Yes.
Well, one of the most important parts when trying to use biometrics is to know the accuracy of the system, and here is where we are finding problems because the biometric systems are working pretty well with specific hardware. So, for example, with the traditional control access are working fine, and when we try to use the mobile phones to be available, the biometrics on the mobile phones is where we are finding problems with the accuracy. Also, we have to take into account that there is no biometric system perfect. So, for example, the voice recognition will have problems with the noise. The face recognition will have problems with the light, and also fingerprint will have limitations with because it's only working with the specific hardware and finger readers in only a few mobile phones. So accuracy is still a problem we have to solve. Mobile is something that is interesting to use biometrics in a financial environment, but they have to improve, and well, it's something to take into account. Also, well, security, it's something to take in mind. Security, what we think is a biometrics, it's an opportunity to use to apply a second factor authentication or a third factor authentication. We don't think that biometrics, we can't say that biometrics is better or worse than any other factor of authentication. It's one more of them. So we are, from the security point of view, we are happy to have one more possibility to apply it together with other methods of authentication, like something you know, like passwords, or something you have, like the mobile itself. Well, also what we have here is a concept that is important, that we are always talking about authentication, but we can use biometrics also as a piece of information that will allow us to improve our, for example, fraud detection systems, or any other tool that give us information from the customer. And identification and authentication will not be 100% accurate, but we will be closer to this 100%. Well, the standardization, it's also something we'll have to dedicate more time, and now it's improving because, well, as you may know, the European regulation is pushing banks to apply second factor authentication, and biometrics is one of them. So perhaps here we have an opportunity to standardize through regulation the biometric systems that we could use. And well, cost is always something important. In this case, if we use the mobile phone to use as authentication using biometrics, the cost is mitigated, and it's why one of the reasons why the biometrics is now having great success, because the cost has been decreasing. Next slide, please. Well, here we have a question that always appears when talking about the right architecture to use biometrics, and the first question is where to store the biometric data. And well, we have three different possibilities. One is on the device. It's the one that has been used by Apple Pay, for example, or FIDO Alliance. Centrally on a server, or as a service, using a third-party service. Well, here we have pros and cons in any of the possibilities. What we think is that the easier way to do it is to store this data in the mobile phone, because we avoid having to deal with all the biometric data that is considered as a private data, and well, you have to take into account some regulations and the things. But well, if you store them in a centralized server, also you will have more control of the data and more possibilities. And on the other hand, if you implement the solution, well, you don't have to store any data. What you store has to be something that well, a hash or something that has nothing to do, or an attacker could not reproduce anything from this data. And well, at the end of the day, this could be something like the problems we have with the NFC and the secure element, and the way of where to store the card data. What we will need here, it will be a hardware specific to store this data. And well, we have the previous experience with the card data, where and how to store it. It's almost the same problem. The next slide, please. Well, the basic idea we have here is that we have to involve business units, because well, biometrics will be, or authentication in general is the first thing a customer is using from a bank. So the impression, or the user experience that a customer will get, the first idea of a service will be the authentication process. So it has a lot of importance. So we need to be innovative here, and in fact, biometrics is giving some innovation image to the bank that could use it. And well, it's important because also I think that out there is an idea that banks have not worked enough to improve authentication systems. Most of the banks are still using pins of 4 digits, for example, or well, some ways of authentication that are not the most secure. And I think that most of the customers think now, or they have a better knowledge of what security is and authentication could be, and they are asking for better solutions. So this is a challenge for financial institutions to improve our current authentication systems, and business units will have to work to give a good user experience. It's the most important part, and the problem perhaps will not be how to apply, or it will be how the user will deal with the biometric authentication. And well, it will depend on several parameters, like here, has to be has to be something that the user will be able to trust on, and has to work fine. So it's something business people has to know, and to know how to apply it in a good way. Next slide, please. Well, here what we have is the collaboration and standardization statements. Well, it's something that it's interesting, because security normally is taken as something that where banks or financial institutions are competing, or well, we are providing our customers from security, and security is something that makes the difference and could make a customers to choose one bank or other. But in this case, we think that all the financial institutions will use more or less the same ways to authenticate. It has no sense if each bank or financial institution is using a different way to authenticate customers, because, well, it's something that has customer will never have to choose or to know each way to authenticate, and it will be difficult for the customers to learn how to deal with each method of authentication or biometrics. So at the end of the day, it's better to all the banks to use a simple and standard way to authenticate customers, and to improve the security sensation for the customers. So we think that banks have to work together. We have to ask for standards, and also, well, regulators here and regulations can help to leverage this kind of standards. For example, now we have the Secure Pay regulation that has pushed banks to use a second factor authentication, and this is also an opportunity. I'm pretty sure that the European regulation will start working on biometrics more sooner than later. So biometrics will be something we'll all use to authenticate in not only banks but in all the online services. And well, we don't have to see it as the only way to authenticate. The final authentication will be composed by a multi-factor ways to authenticate, and well, behavior, for example, is one of the biometrics method of authentication, and behavior is well, we have a large number of ways to measure or to know who is behind a device, for example, a mobile, and we'll have the possibility to sum up all these methods of authentication, most of them biometrics, because it's the most convenient for our customers. They will, in the case of behavior, they will not have to deal with anything. It's very easy, and at the end of the day, I think that we'll have a very accurate systems with a very good user experience. Next slide. Well, as a conclusion, we can state that the biometrics is on the rise. We'll have to work on knowing more about it and to start knowing how to apply it to our online services. That that we have to work on different methods of authentication and biometrics methods, because, well, fingerprint now is very popular, but there are more ways to use biometrics, and we have to know them and to know the limitation of each one and how they can work together. And well, it's something we have to well, as I I said at the beginning, it's a new possibility security people have to improve security. So before, we didn't have the possibility to use biometrics, and mobile has given us this opportunity, and we have to take this opportunity to improve what we already have. So it will not be something that will work perfectly or a unique biometric method that will work perfectly, but will be a sum of biometric factors that will allow us to authenticate our customers. So we have to work on that, and we'll have to also work together with the customers to know what they want and to change this sense of lack of innovation in the authentication process for the banks, because now our customers are dealing with lots of online services, and most of them are now using very well authentication, or better than banks authentication methods. So we have to work on it and to improve our own methods. Okay, next slide.
Thank you very much.
This is. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's time to convey our thanks for the chairs of the work group, Mario from Caixa and Philippe from Morpho, and also to the work group. So in this work group, we had participants from 27 various member companies. So thank you for the entire work group as well. We will continue in our upcoming Warsaw meeting. Now it's time to look at the questions. I would like to start with the first question, and if I may ask maybe Philippe to take this one. So my question would be, is biometrics accurate enough today to really protect consumers' money and identity? Philippe, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So about accuracy, do you hear me properly?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So about accuracy, I think the first thing important is that we have some very interesting and official results coming from the NIST in US, National Institute of Standard and Technology. So it's something public and showing very interesting results about biometric accuracy for Morpho and other competitors. So again, it's something very official. So what they have shown is that today, with a face recognition, for example, it's possible to have a false authentication rate about 1 out of 10,000, out of 100,000. So in terms of accuracy, it's equating to a 4-digit or a 5-digit PIN code. So why 2 figures? Because it changes the false rejection rate. So it means that the genuine user won't be recognized if the system is too much accurate. So we have to set the system. So you have to keep in mind these figures. It's possible now to reach 1 out of 100,000 false acceptance with only 8% false rejection. So it means that in 8 cases out of 100, you will be rejected, whereas you are the good user. But it means that you will have the possibility to try again. So, and you will multiply this number. So it means that it will be, at the end, it will be convenient. And I think it is now accurate because it's equating to a 5-digit PIN code. And if you combine face recognition with, for example, voice recognition or a PIN code, you can multiply the accuracy. So it's something that can be very, very accurate. And for example, it means that if you want to access your bank account, you will be invited to take your selfie. So 1 out of 100,000. And if you want afterward to validate a transaction, you will be invited to pronounce a sentence. So again, the same accuracy. So it means that with a good level of convenience, you will have a solution quite accurate. So I think now we have, by combining biometrics or combining biometrics and PIN code, we have something quite secure, and we can secure a lot of transactions. And what you have to know is that today the server, the authentication server, are used to manage the level of assurance, so that we know that according to a specific application, for example, a banking application will require a level of assurance 3 or a level of assurance 4. For fund transfer, for example, it will be level of assurance 4. So now the authentication server are used to request not only the face, but also the voice or a PIN code. So it's something really automatized, and it's possible to put in place this authentication strategy according to the criticality of the application. So it's not perfect, but it works, and it remains very convenient for the user. In addition, so on the top of that, we have to know, you have to know that biometric and especially biometric on smartphone make a lot of progresses each year. So for face, for example, we improve our algorithm by 20% each year. So it's something more and more accurate. So today it is equating to a 5-digit PIN code. Maybe in 1 year, I don't know, 2 years, it will be 6 digits, 7 digits, and so on and so forth. So it's something really, really promising. We will be soon, and we are on some devices, capable to combine iris recognition with face with the same user gesture. So it means that the photo is taken at once for iris and face. So you are going to combine two biometric modalities with only one capture, and iris in addition is very accurate. So now we know that in some months, in some year, we will be able to bring real accuracy on smartphone. So it's definitely something happening on smartphone with high accuracy.
Very good. Thank you very much, Philippe.
You're welcome.
There's a question to Mario from Peter, saying that when customer gets rid of the password, how do you then envision that customer will onboard again when, for example, changing the mobile device? Would you, Mario, have an answer to this one? It's not an easy question.
No, it's not. Well, it's what I was saying before. We have to work very well with the user experience of this biometrics ways to authenticate. And well, we cannot provide services that could be difficult to use. So, for example, this is one of the problems if we are storing our biometric data locally. So the problem is that if we change our mobile device, we'll have a problem. And if we are using a centralized database, it will be easier to deal with all these things. I think that well, taking into account what is happening with the data and how in the industry is managing all the data and big data and the cloud system and Internet of Things and all these kind of technologies that are coming and are changing our lives totally. Well, I think that at the end of the day, we'll have biometric as a service, and we'll have companies that will provide this kind of authentication in a secure way. And now what we have is the first steps on biometrics. So we have to deal with this kind of things. But in future, I think that our biometric data will be stored in a secure way, and we'll use more centralized databases of biometric data. Also, governments and public institutions are starting to use biometrics to deal with all the public services and also to provide security to citizens. And this will end with biometric databases that we know that they already exist. So now all the vendors like Apple and Microsoft and Android are promoting their cloud storing systems, and I think that it will be something that they will apply to biometrics as well.
Yes, that's probably true. Thank you very much, Mario. We have a question here also for Philippe regarding the use cases that you presented earlier. We'll probably go to that slide. So the question about the use cases is it possible to split those into regions? So what is North America, Europe, Latin America, Asia Pacific, or Africa? Unfortunately, we didn't, as part of the survey, we didn't ask about the regions, because we never believed that our survey would be so popular and we would get so many replies that we kind of took the regions out in order to keep the data more simple. But maybe you, Philippe, would have a kind of understanding of the use cases, how they could be around the globe. What use cases are popular in which parts?
Yeah. So as I mentioned just a while ago, I think the first use of biometrics for bank today is within the KYC process. So when you want to open a bank account and you want to make sure of your customer identity. So in the northern countries of the world, we are used to have a rather strong citizen identity with a robust ID card, a passport, and so on. In some other countries in the south of the world, we know that in some countries in Africa, you have no ID document at all. So only maybe a voting card or something like that, but that's it. So in these countries, banks are compelled, if they want to propose services to users, and they want to consumers, so they are compelled to register all customers, to register biometrics, and to verify uniqueness. So they enroll a new customer, they capture fingerprints, and they compare into a database if these fingerprints are not already enrolled in the database with another name. So to make sure that this customer, if I'm not sure about the name of this customer, at least I'm sure that this customer is not already in my repository. And because banks are now sharing the same repository in some countries, for example in Africa, 6 countries and 70 banks decided to put together all biometric information in the same repository, so that if you want to open an account in one bank of these 6 countries, there will be a checking to make sure that you are not already enrolled in another country with another name. So it's definitely the first use case about biometrics today, and we believe that probably some already 400 million people are already enrolled in biometric database in banks. So it's an important use case today. But these countries, it's a case, for example, in India, it's a case in Africa, it's a case in Brazil, it's a case in Mexico, it's a case in Colombia. And these countries have also smartphone users. So, for example, in India, you have today 150 million smartphones. So they are also interested in biometric authentication on smartphones. So I mean, once the customer is enrolled, you can propose services and you can give some biometric access capabilities. So today it's a use case very interesting for European and US banks, but also for all banks in the world. So it's definitely something emerging. I mean, this way to authenticate with a smartphone. And in addition, what we can see is that today the smartphone becomes the trusted device, whatever the channel. So we can see some banks or some ATM manufacturers, for example, proposing to authenticate with your smartphone, even if you want access services through the ATM. So you will have a out-of-band notification. So the ATM is going to trigger your smartphone in order you to authenticate on your smartphone for accessing service on ATM. So we have more and more use cases like that about biometrics. But definitely in the south, it's more for customer KYC. And in the north, it's more for accessing services.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Philippe. I think time for us now to close this webinar. We have already exceeded our time limits, but thank you so much for everybody attending. Thank you for our chairs for answering the questions. Thanks for you to asking the questions as well. So the biometrics webinar is now at the end. Immediately after this webinar, I will send to all the attendees the presentation as well as the paper, which will be published on Wednesday this week. So you will receive it now a few days before. And if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to get in touch, either directly to Philippe or Mario or to me, Sirpa, to receive all the information. Kirsty's email here is for tomorrow's media webinar, so you don't need to go via our communications agency as